Don't wish for a better life if you're not becoming a better person. Most people want success fast, but they skip the part that matters most: character. They want the rewards without doing the work that no one sees. But here's the truth: if you get success before you're ready for it, it won't last. You'll feel pressure you can't handle, you'll lose focus, you'll fold. That's why building character first isn't just important, it's necessary. This audiobook isn't about big words or fake motivation. It's about real change. It's about fixing your habits, controlling your emotions, learning patience, being honest when it's hard, and showing up for yourself every single day. If you've ever felt stuck, lost, or frustrated with slow results, it's not because you can't succeed, it's because you haven't built the version of you that can hold it. That's what this is about. No hype, no fluff, just the truth you needed to hear. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Build strong character before chasing visible success. Success is attractive, and I understand why people chase it so hard. Money, attention, titles, applause, comfort, all of it pulls on the human mind. People want proof that their effort matters. They want to feel ahead. They want something visible they can point to and say, "This shows I made it." But here is a truth I learned early and paid for by experience. Success without character is fragile. It looks solid from a distance, but it does not last under pressure. If you want a life that works, not just a moment that looks good, you must build strong character before you chase visible success. Character is what you do when nobody is checking. It is how you treat people who cannot help you. It is how you act when the reward is far away and the effort is required now. Character is built in private, long before success shows up in public. Most people want the opposite order. They want success first, and then they promise themselves they will become disciplined, honest, patient, and responsible later. Later rarely comes. Pressure reveals who you already are. It does not create strength, it exposes it. I have watched people get opportunities they were not ready for. They received money they did not know how to manage. They gained influence they did not know how to handle. They received attention that fed their ego instead of their growth. And slowly, everything slipped through their fingers. Not because success is bad, but because character was not ready to hold it. Life has a way of testing people. If your inner structure is weak, the outer rewards will shake you apart. Building character is not loud, it is quiet work. It happens in daily choices that feel small. Getting up when you said you would, doing the task you promised even when you do not feel inspired, speaking honestly even when a lie would be easier, treating people with respect even when you are tired or irritated. These actions do not get applause, but they shape who you become. Over time, they create self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of a strong life. Many people are frustrated because they feel stuck. They want progress, they want results, they want proof, but they are skipping the inner work. They want the reward without the preparation. Life does not work that way. The person you become always determines what you keep. You may get success by luck or timing, but you only keep success by character. That is why some people rise fast and fall faster, and others move slowly but build something that lasts. Character begins with taking responsibility. Responsibility for your attitude, your actions, your reactions, your habits. Not blaming your past, not blaming people, not blaming circumstances. Taking responsibility does not mean you are guilty of everything that happened. It means you accept that your future depends on your choices. That shift alone changes how you see life. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" you start asking, "What can I do next?" That mindset builds strength. Strong character also requires patience. Progress often feels invisible at first. You do the work and nothing seems to change. That is where many people quit. They assume effort without immediate reward means failure. It does not. Growth is happening under the surface. Skills are forming, habits are stabilizing, discipline is taking root. If you can stay steady during this phase, you are building something powerful. Patience trains you to trust the process instead of chasing quick results. Another part of character is self-control. Not dramatic self-denial, just simple control over impulses. Saying no to distractions that steal your focus. Saying no to comfort when work is required. Saying no to reactions that damage relationships. This kind of control gives you freedom later. People think freedom comes from doing whatever you want. Real freedom comes from being able to choose what matters most, even when it is hard. Integrity is also essential. Integrity means your actions match your words. It means people can trust you. It means you do not change your standards based on who is watching. Integrity builds a reputation you do not need to advertise. Over time, people notice. They feel safe working with you. They believe you. Opportunities tend to move toward people who are reliable. Not flashy, not loud, reliable. Humility is another strength people misunderstand. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is being open to learning. It is admitting when you are wrong. It is accepting feedback without becoming defensive. People with humility grow faster because they are teachable. They do not waste energy protecting an image. They focus on improving their skills and behavior. That mindset prepares you for leadership before you ever hold a position. Character also shows in how you handle difficulty. Life will challenge you. Plans will fail. People will disappoint you. Results will come slower than expected. In those moments, character decides your response. Do you complain or adjust? Do you quit or learn? Do you become bitter or become better? These choices shape your future more than any success you chase. Difficulty is not there to stop you. It is there to strengthen you if you respond well. Daily habits matter more than big intentions. Character is built through repetition. Small actions done consistently shape your identity. Reading a few pages, thinking before speaking, planning your day instead of reacting to it, reviewing your actions at night and asking what can be improved. These habits do not look impressive, but they change how you think and act. Over time, you become someone you can depend on. People often ask how long it takes. That is the wrong question. The better question is, who am I becoming while I wait? If you focus on character, the timeline takes care of itself. You become prepared for opportunities you cannot yet see. When success arrives, you are not overwhelmed by it. You have the discipline to manage it, the patience to grow it, and the integrity to protect it. Chasing visible success without inner work creates anxiety. You feel pressure to maintain an image. You fear losing what you gained. You compare yourself constantly. Character brings peace. You know who you are. You know your standards. You know what you stand for. That confidence does not depend on applause. It comes from self-trust built through consistent behavior. Building character before success also affects how you treat others. You listen better. You keep your word. You respect people regardless of their position. Relationships become stronger. And relationships are a major part of any lasting success. People remember how you made them feel. They remember reliability, kindness, honesty. Those qualities open doors money cannot. This work requires honesty with yourself. No excuses, no pretending. Looking at your habits and asking which ones help and which ones hurt. Taking small steps to improve, not waiting for motivation. Acting even when motivation is low. Motivation often follows action, not the other way around. Discipline creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. The world rewards results, but life rewards character. Results may impress people for a moment. Character earns trust over time, and trust is one of the most valuable assets you can have. It attracts opportunities, partnerships, support. It creates stability. It allows you to lead, influence, and grow without losing yourself. If you focus only on success, you may get something you cannot handle. If you focus on character, you become someone who can handle whatever comes. That is the better path. It is slower at first. It requires patience and effort, but it leads to a life with fewer regrets and more meaning. Every day you are shaping your character, whether you realize it or not. Every choice is a vote for the person you are becoming. Choose actions that build strength, honesty, discipline, and responsibility. Do not wait for success to change you. Change yourself, and success will meet you there. Work on your inner life. Build habits that support growth. Hold yourself to standards even when it is uncomfortable. Treat people well. Learn continuously. Stay patient. Stay responsible. Stay honest. When visible success arrives, you will not be surprised by it. You will be ready for it. And when challenges come with it, you will have the character to stand steady. That is how strong lives are built. Not by chasing outcomes, but by shaping the person who earns them. Character first, success later, and when it comes, it stays. Chapter 2. Fix your habits before setting big goals. People love goals. Big goals sound exciting. They feel powerful when spoken out loud. They give the mind something to dream about. A better income, a better body, more freedom, more recognition. Goals create emotion quickly. Habits do not. Habits feel boring. Habits feel slow. Habits feel ordinary. That is why most people chase goals and ignore habits. And that is exactly why most people feel frustrated year after year. Goals without habits are wishes. They create hope, but not progress. If you want real change, you must fix your habits before you set big goals. A goal is a direction. A habit is the engine. You can point your life anywhere you want, but if your daily behavior stays the same, nothing moves. People say they want a better future, but they live the same day over and over. Same sleep patterns, same distractions, same reactions, same excuses. Then they wonder why nothing changes. Life responds to what you do daily, not to what you hope for occasionally. Habits are how character shows up in real life. They reveal discipline, honesty, patience, and consistency. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. That is not an opinion. That is how life works. The body follows routine. The mind follows routine. Results follow routine. If your routine is weak, your goals will stay distant no matter how motivated you feel. Many people set goals to escape discomfort. They want a different life so they do not have to feel stressed, tired, uncertain, or insecure. But habits are built inside discomfort. Waking up earlier, turning off distractions, doing the work even when energy is low, choosing effort over ease. If you avoid discomfort now, your future will be heavier. If you face discomfort now, your future becomes lighter. Fixing habits starts with honesty. Honest observation, not self-attack. Look at how you actually spend your time. Look at how you start your day. Look at what you do when things get difficult. Look at how you treat your body, your focus, your commitments. Most people already know what they should improve. They just avoid looking closely because change requires effort. Small habits shape identity. Every repeated action sends a message to your mind about who you are. When you keep promises to yourself, you become someone who trusts yourself. When you break them, you teach yourself not to listen. Self-trust is not built through words. It is built through behavior. Fixing habits repairs the trust slowly but surely. People often wait for motivation to fix habits. That is backwards. Motivation is unstable. It changes with mood, weather, energy, and stress. Habits work even when motivation disappears. That is their power. A habit does not argue. It does not negotiate. It simply runs. Once installed, it carries you forward on days when willpower is low. Start with habits that support clarity and energy. Sleep patterns, morning routines, daily planning. These are not glamorous, but they influence everything else. A tired, unfocused mind makes poor decisions. A rested, organized mind handles pressure better. Before chasing success, make sure your body and mind are supported by decent routines. Another important habit is how you handle your time. Time is not managed by intention, it is managed by structure. If your day has no plan, distractions will decide for you. Checking your phone, reacting to messages, scrolling endlessly, these habits quietly steal your future. Fixing this does not require perfection, it requires awareness and boundaries. Decide when you work. Decide when you rest. Decide what gets your attention. Habits also shape emotional stability. How you respond when things go wrong becomes automatic over time. Some people complain without thinking. Some shut down, some get angry. These are habits too. You can train better responses. Pause before speaking. Breathe before reacting. Ask better questions instead of blaming. These habits improve relationships and leadership long before any success shows up. Goals are often too large for the current version of a person. Habits grow the person until the goal becomes reasonable. When habits improve, skills, confidence, discipline, and focus increase naturally. Then goals stop feeling overwhelming. They feel challenging but manageable. That is when progress becomes steady instead of emotional. Another habit that matters deeply is learning. Not formal education, but daily learning. Reading, listening, reflecting, practicing. People who stop learning stop growing. And growth is required before higher results appear. Learning habits sharpen thinking and decision-making. They help you avoid repeating the same mistakes. They keep your mind flexible instead of rigid. Fixing habits also means removing what weakens you. Some habits drain energy without adding value. Late nights without purpose, constant noise, unhealthy food, negative conversations. These habits do not feel dangerous in the moment, but they accumulate. Over time, they reduce focus, discipline, and belief. Removing one weak habit often creates space for a stronger one. Consistency matters more than intensity. Doing something small every day beats doing something big once in a while. Life rewards what is repeated. If you read 10 minutes a day, you grow wiser. If you move your body daily, it becomes stronger. If you think clearly each morning, your decisions improve. Small habits create quiet power. Many people fear habits because they think habits limit freedom. The opposite is true. Good habits create freedom. They reduce stress. They reduce decision fatigue. They create momentum. When your basic routines work, your mind is free to think creatively and strategically. Chaos steals energy. Structure protects it. Fixing habits before setting big goals also protects you from disappointment. Goals raise expectations. If habits do not support them, failure feels personal. People start doubting themselves instead of adjusting behavior. When habits are strong, progress feels earned. Confidence grows naturally. You know you are doing the work even when results take time. Habits shape how you finish things. Many people start strong and finish weak. That is a habit. Finishing requires patience and follow-through. Training yourself to complete small tasks builds the muscle needed for larger ones. Finish what you start, even when excitement fades. That habit alone separates many successful people from the rest. Another overlooked habit is reflection. Taking time to review your day. What worked? What did not? What needs adjustment? This habit prevents years of repeating the same errors. It creates awareness and improvement. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Do not wait for perfect conditions to fix habits. Conditions will never be perfect. Start where you are, with what you have today. One change at a time. Habits do not change overnight, but they do change direction. Direction matters more than speed. Big goals are not bad, they are useful, but they should come after habits are stable. When habits are right, goals become targets instead of fantasies. Action replaces talk. Progress replaces frustration. Confidence replaces doubt. If your habits are weak, your goals will exhaust you. If your habits are strong, your goals will energize you. That is the difference. Fix how you live before deciding where you want to go. Life always moves in the order of preparation then reward. Work on the daily actions no one applauds. Wake up with intention. Protect your focus. Keep simple promises. Learn a little every day. Reflect often. Adjust quickly. These habits shape the person who can handle more responsibility, more opportunity, and more success. Success is not built in a single decision. It is built in repeated behavior. Fix the behavior, and the future follows. That is practical wisdom. That is how real progress is made.
Chapter 3. Strengthen self-control before gaining more freedom. Freedom is one of the most desired ideas in human life. People want to choose their schedule, choose their work, choose their lifestyle, choose their pace. They want fewer limits and more options. That desire is natural, but here is the part most people miss. Freedom without self-control creates chaos. More options without discipline does not improve life. It complicates it. If you want real freedom that lasts, you must strengthen self-control first. Self-control is the ability to guide your behavior, even when feelings pull you in another direction. It is choosing what matters most instead of what feels good in the moment. That skill does not restrict life. It prepares you for a better one. Without it, freedom turns into distraction, overindulgence, and regret. With it, freedom becomes productive, meaningful, and stable. Look closely at how people misuse freedom. When schedules become flexible, some people waste entire days. When money increases, some people spend without thinking. When authority grows, some people speak carelessly. When nobody supervises them, standards drop. That is not because freedom is bad. It is because self-control was not ready. Life does not test you by limiting you forever. At some point it loosens the structure. Parents step back, jobs give independence, opportunities expand. That is when inner discipline must replace external rules. If you rely only on outside pressure, you will struggle when it disappears. Self-control is the internal structure that holds your life together when nobody is watching. Self-control begins with awareness. You cannot control what you do not notice. Pay attention to patterns. When do you procrastinate? When do you overreact? When do you avoid effort? When do distractions take over? These moments reveal where strength is needed. Awareness is not judgment, it is information. Information allows choice. Many people confuse self-control with suppression. That is not the goal. The goal is direction. Feelings will come and go. Urges will appear. The skill is deciding how to act anyway. You do not need to eliminate desire. You need to manage response. That is maturity. Mature people do not act on every impulse. They choose based on values and long-term outcomes. Strengthening self-control happens through small daily decisions. Waiting before responding. Finishing a task before seeking comfort. Turning off noise to focus. Stopping when enough is enough. These actions feel minor, but they train the mind. Over time, the gap between urge and action grows. In that gap lives freedom. People often say they want more freedom, but their habits say otherwise. They cannot control their time, their attention, their spending, their emotions. Giving such a person more freedom does not help. It magnifies the problem. That is why life often withholds freedom until responsibility is proven. It is not punishment, it is protection. Self-control also protects relationships. Words spoken without thought damage trust. Reactions driven by anger create distance. Self-control allows you to pause, choose tone and speak with intention. That builds respect. Respect opens doors. Many opportunities are lost, not because of lack of skill, but because of lack of restraint. Emotional control is especially important. Life brings stress, disappointment, and pressure. Without self-control, emotions take over decisions. People quit too early, say things they regret, or sabotage progress. Strengthening emotional control does not mean ignoring feelings. It means not letting them drive behavior. Feel the emotion, acknowledge it, then choose your response. Another area is control of attention. Attention is one of the most valuable resources you have. Where attention goes, life follows. If attention is constantly pulled by noise, messages, and endless content, progress slows. Self-control allows you to protect focus. Focus allows you to build skills. Skills create options. Options create freedom. Self-control also applies to comfort. Comfort is pleasant but dangerous. When overused, too much comfort weakens discipline. Strength grows through effort. Effort requires saying no to ease at times. Choosing effort today reduces struggle tomorrow. That is a trade many people avoid and complain about later. People often wait until they have freedom to develop discipline. That never works. Discipline must come first. The person who can manage a little freedom well earns more. The person who misuses small freedom loses trust. Life expands or contracts based on how well you handle what you already have. Strengthening self-control requires consistency, not intensity. You do not need dramatic changes. You need repeated choices. Choose structure over chaos. Choose planning over reacting. Choose progress over pleasure. Often enough to build momentum. Momentum makes discipline feel lighter. Another important element is delaying gratification. The ability to wait, to invest effort now for a later reward. This skill separates stable lives from unstable ones. People who demand immediate results become impatient and quit. People who can wait continue learning and improving. Delayed gratification builds resilience. Self-control also improves confidence. When you do what you decide, you trust yourself more. That trust changes how you carry yourself. It reduces inner conflict. You are no longer negotiating with yourself constantly. Decisions become simpler. Life feels more aligned. Many people think freedom means absence of rules. Real freedom means choosing your rules. Setting boundaries for yourself. Deciding when to work, when to rest. What to consume, what to avoid. These personal rules reduce confusion. They guide behavior automatically. That is self-leadership. Look at people who truly live free lives. They are not careless. They are disciplined. They manage their health, their finances, their time, and their words. Their freedom is earned through self-control. They can say yes, because they know how to say no. Strengthening self-control also prepares you for leadership. Leadership brings influence. Influence amplifies behavior. If behavior is undisciplined, influence creates damage. If behavior is controlled, influence creates growth. Before leading others, you must lead yourself. Self-control is the foundation. This process takes patience. There will be setbacks, moments where impulse wins. Do not quit. Learn. Adjust. Continue. Progress is built through persistence, not perfection. Every time you pause before acting, you strengthen the skill. Do not wait for freedom to force discipline. Choose discipline now to earn freedom later. Start with what you can control today. Your schedule, your reactions, your effort, your choices. Small control practiced daily becomes strong control over time. Life gives more responsibility to those who show restraint, more trust to those who manage themselves, more opportunity to those who stay steady under pressure. Strengthen self-control quietly. It will speak for you when freedom arrives. Freedom feels good, but responsibility feels solid. Self-control gives you both. It allows you to enjoy options without losing direction. That balance creates a life that grows instead of collapses. Build control now. Guard your actions. Guide your behavior. Choose long-term benefit over short-term relief. Often enough to change your future. When freedom expands, you will be ready. And when others struggle with excess, you will stand steady. That is how strong lives are built.
Chapter 4. Learn patience before expecting fast results. Everyone wants results. People want change, and they want it quickly. They want their goals met fast, their plans to work instantly, and their growth to feel smooth. But the truth is, anything that truly matters takes time. If you expect fast results without first learning patience, you set yourself up for frustration. You'll start something with excitement and end it with disappointment. You'll blame yourself or the process, even when nothing is wrong, except that your timeline was never realistic. Patience is not about waiting quietly. It's about how you behave while waiting. It's the strength to keep working even when nothing looks different. It's the choice to stay focused when progress is invisible. Most people think patience is passive. It's not. Patience is a decision. It's the daily decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. People often give up not because the goal is too hard, but because their expectations are too short. They think if they don't see a change in a few days or weeks, it must not be working. So they change direction, start over, or stop trying altogether. But growth doesn't work on a schedule made by feelings. It works on a schedule built by effort, time, and consistency. If you plant a seed today, you don't come back tomorrow expecting a tree. You understand it takes watering, sunlight, protection, and patience. You don't dig it up just because you don't see anything yet. But this same understanding disappears when it comes to personal progress. People start something new: habits, routines, goals, and expect visible change within days. And when it doesn't happen, they panic or walk away. That mindset destroys momentum. It kills belief. Not because the effort was wrong, but because the person never built the emotional endurance to wait. Emotional endurance is what carries you through the space between effort and result. It's the ability to keep going without guarantees, without applause, without proof. This is where most people break. Not because they're weak, but because they never trained patience. You train patience by staying consistent through boredom, by repeating the right actions, even when they're no longer exciting. When the routine gets dull, and your brain says, "This isn't working," you keep showing up. That builds something deeper than motivation. It builds reliability. If you can rely on yourself during slow seasons, you've already won half the battle. Fast results feel good, but fast results often disappear as fast as they came. Real change, the kind that lasts, happens gradually. It sneaks up on you. One day, you realize you don't react like you used to. You think more clearly. You move with more confidence. You didn't wake up and become a new person overnight. You became that person slowly through decisions that added up over time. Learning patience protects your energy. If you expect results overnight, every delay feels like a failure. You start questioning yourself, doubting your actions, and losing focus. But if you expect results to take time, every delay feels normal. You stay calm. You stay committed. You use the time to improve instead of worry. People who expect fast results usually fall into the trap of comparison. They see someone else's success and think, "Why not me?" But what they don't see
is the years of quiet effort behind that success. The setbacks, the doubt, the slow progress, all invisible from the outside. Comparing your early steps to someone else's results is unfair to your own journey. Patience reminds you that everyone moves at their own pace. When you learn patience, you stop chasing shortcuts. You stop looking for the easiest way. Instead, you choose the path that builds you, not just the one that gives you quick rewards. This mindset makes you stronger. It teaches you to focus on the process, not just the outcome. You start measuring progress by how much better you've become, not just how much you've achieved. Patience also helps you handle mistakes better. When you're impatient, every mistake feels like a disaster. But with patience, you understand mistakes are part of the process. They're not signs of failure, they're signs of learning. You stop beating yourself up and start asking, what can I learn from this? That's how growth speeds up, ironically, by slowing down emotionally. People who master patience don't give up easily. They're harder to discourage. They've trained their minds to focus on effort, not just results. They know some days will feel flat, some weeks will feel wasted, some months won't show progress. But they trust the work. That trust keeps them grounded. It's not blind hope, it's earned through consistency. If you want to grow, set your goals, but more importantly, set your pace. Don't burn out in the first stretch. Don't expect rewards before you've paid the price. Pay the price first through effort, focus, discipline, and let the reward show up when it's ready. Most people quit just before the breakthrough. They walk away because the signs weren't obvious. Patience keeps you in the game long enough to see results others never reach. Learning patience also improves how you see time. You stop rushing everything. You start using your hours wisely, instead of wishing they'd go faster. You value the process. You get serious about daily improvement. One better choice a day. One uncomfortable decision. One honest reflection. Over time, that adds up, slowly, quietly, powerfully. If you're struggling to stay patient, remind yourself why you started. Look back at the old version of yourself, the one who hoped for a better life. You owe that version effort. Not speed, just effort. Keep showing up for them. Keep showing up for the future you're building. Even if it takes longer than you expected. Progress is often silent. It happens while nobody claps, while nobody sees your effort, while nobody checks in. That's where patience is tested. If you can work during silence, you can win during noise. Fast results create noise. Patience creates depth, and depth lasts. You don't need everything to happen today. You need to stay focused today. You need to build habits that protect your mind, your energy, and your future. You need to make decisions that match the person you want to become, not just the comfort you want to feel now. That's real power. Growth that lasts doesn't feel like a race. It feels like steady steps forward. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, sometimes invisible, but always forward. Patience makes you stronger than your excuses. It makes you consistent without rewards. It makes you mature when others panic. That is a rare strength. So start where you are, with what you know. Do what you can. Every day, learn to wait without quitting. Learn to trust effort more than emotion. Learn to show up when progress feels small. And most importantly, learn to believe that time is working with you, not against you. When you stop demanding speed, you start building strength. When you stop needing proof, you start becoming proof. That shift changes everything, and that's where the real results begin. Not fast, not loud, but real, and worth it. Chapter 5. Develop integrity before opportunities start appearing. Opportunities sound exciting. People wait for them. They hope for that big break. the promotion, the connection, the moment that finally changes everything. But very few people stop and ask, am I ready for what I want? That's the real question. Because opportunities don't change who you are, they reveal it. And if you don't have integrity before those doors open, you will not be able to handle what comes through them. Success might arrive, but it won't stay. You can't wait for opportunity to show up before you build character. You need to develop integrity first, before anyone is watching, before anything is on the line, and before results start appearing. Integrity is about being real. It's about acting in a way that matches your values, even when nobody will know. It's doing what's right, not because you'll be praised, but because it matters to you. Most people adjust based on who's around. They speak one way to one person and another way to someone else. They change their standards to avoid discomfort. That may work short term, but eventually people see through it. The truth always shows. Living with integrity builds strength. It teaches you to make decisions based on who you are, not what's easy. When you hold yourself to your own standards, whether or not someone else is watching, you start building real confidence. Not the kind that comes from achievements or praise, but the kind that comes from knowing you can trust yourself. Trust is the foundation of every relationship, your relationship with others, and more importantly, your relationship with yourself. If you say one thing and do another, over time you start losing faith in your own words. That quiet damage affects everything. Your confidence drops, your self-respect weakens, your motivation fades. It's not because you're lazy, it's because your actions don't match your inner values. That gap creates stress. Integrity closes that gap. Opportunities often come when you least expect them. You can't always prepare for the moment itself, but you can prepare the kind of person who will meet that moment. That's what integrity does. It shapes the person who is steady, grounded, and consistent before the pressure shows up. When things get fast, loud, and demanding, people fall back on their habits, not their intentions. If your habit is honesty, responsibility, and discipline, you'll rise. If your habit is cutting corners and avoiding hard truths, you'll crumble. The world respects people who mean what they say and follow through. But more than that, people trust them, and trust is what turns opportunities into something lasting. You may impress someone once with talent, but you keep doors open by being dependable. Being the person who does what's right even when nobody's keeping score is rare and deeply valuable. You don't build integrity by reading about it or talking about it. You build it in the quiet, in the daily choices that don't seem to matter. Waking up when you said you would, following through on the small tasks you promised, telling the truth when lying would be easier, speaking up when something feels off, admitting when you're wrong, owning the outcome even if it doesn't favor you. These aren't dramatic actions, but they shape who you are. A lot of people hope opportunity will bring out their best, but pressure usually brings out your habits. If your habits are strong, you perform with calm. If they're shaky, you react with panic. That's why integrity is preparation. It's what you build so that when the moment comes, you don't have to fake anything. You don't have to put on a show. You can just be yourself. Because yourself is someone solid. Opportunities test more than your skill. They test your ability to stay grounded, to be honest, to keep your word, to lead with clarity, to admit when you don't know something. If you haven't practiced those things before, you'll try to perform them under pressure, and that rarely works. You can't build integrity in a rush. It's built in the moments when nothing is on the line. That's why starting now matters. Living with integrity also makes life simpler. You don't have to remember who you were pretending to be. You don't have to manage a version of yourself for different situations. You can speak clearly. You can sleep well. You can lead without guilt. That kind of peace is hard to find when you're constantly adjusting your behavior just to fit in or look right. This doesn't mean being perfect. Nobody gets it right all the time. Integrity isn't about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about correcting quickly when it's about taking ownership without making excuses. The people who grow fastest are the ones who don't run from their flaws. They face them. They learn. They adjust. That's integrity in action. Some of the best opportunities in life come through people. Someone sees how you work, how you speak, how you handle difficulty, and they decide to open a door for you. Those moments are earned long before they appear. Your daily attitude, your effort, your behavior when nobody's giving you attention, those are the things that shape your future. Not by luck, by choice. You might not be in control of when opportunities come, but you are in control of the kind of person they find when they arrive. That's your job. To build the version of yourself that's ready. That doesn't mean trying to be impressive. It means becoming real, reliable, clear, honest, humble, focused. Not because someone told you to, but because you know that's who you want to be. Opportunities are not always exciting. Some of them are heavy. They require hard decisions. They require letting go of comfort. They ask for a strong mind. That strength comes from the quiet work, from the hours nobody sees, from the choices you didn't post about, from the principles you held when it would have been easier to break them. You don't need to wait for a big moment to start building integrity. Every small decision is a chance to build or break it. Every time you show up with honesty, every time you act with intention, every time you take the harder but better path, you grow. Not quickly, not dramatically, but deeply. And that kind of growth holds up when life gets real. It's easy to look around and think character doesn't matter. That results are everything. That shortcuts work, but over time, people always come back to the basics. The people who last are the ones who are rooted in something more than hype. Integrity might feel slow in the beginning, but it leads to a stronger life. Don't wait for opportunity to shape you. Shape yourself now. Decide who you are, decide what you stand for. Live by it. Not sometimes, but always. And when the opportunity arrives, you won't need to get ready. You'll already be prepared. Because you built the kind of life that doesn't need a spotlight to be strong. And that kind of life, that's the one worth living.
Chapter 6. Practice consistency before motivation or excitement. Most people start strong. They feel inspired. They feel excited. They feel ready to change everything in one day. That emotion feels powerful, but it fades quickly. The truth is, you don't need more motivation. You don't need to feel excited all the time. What you really need is consistency, because consistency is what moves your life forward when motivation disappears. If you wait to feel ready, you'll waste too much time. If you build the habit of showing up anyway, you'll grow while others wait. Excitement is fun, but it's temporary. Motivation comes and goes. Some mornings you'll feel full of energy. Other mornings you won't want to get out of bed. That's normal. What matters is what you do on those hard days. If your progress depends on how you feel, it will be unstable. But if you train yourself to do the work no matter what, you become steady, and steady always wins over time. Real growth doesn't come from one perfect day. It comes from doing the right thing over and over, even when nobody's watching, even when the feeling isn't there. That's what separates people who improve from people who just plan to improve. Consistency isn't about intensity, it's about repetition. It's about showing up on the days when your mind offers 100 excuses to stop. Most people get inspired, make a list,
set a plan, and go hard for a few days. But the moment progress feels slow, or life gets messy, they pause. They say they'll restart next week. They wait for the next wave of energy. But waiting for motivation is a trap. It teaches your brain that action depends on emotion. That's a dangerous mindset, because emotions are not stable, but habits can be. You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to do something every day. That's the power of consistency. One workout, one focused hour, one journal entry, one difficult conversation, one better meal. These small actions feel like nothing in the moment, but they compound, day by day. They create momentum, and momentum is what makes hard things feel lighter. Discipline is built in the repetition of simple actions. Getting up at the time you said you would, finishing what you started, planning your day, and sticking to it. These habits create structure, and structure protects your goals when life gets busy. If you always wait for the right moment, you'll miss most of them. But if you create the right habits, you'll have a system that keeps moving, no matter how you feel. You don't need to feel fired up to be effective. You need to be consistent. Even 10 minutes of focused action a day is better than an intense burst, followed by weeks of nothing. Most people underestimate what they can build through daily effort. They think it has to be dramatic. It doesn't. Progress is quiet. It often feels boring. But boring is where real strength is built. Consistency also strengthens identity. Every time you follow through, you prove to yourself that you can. That proof builds belief, and belief is what drives your next action. If you keep starting and stopping, your mind loses faith in your own promises. You begin to doubt yourself, not because you're weak, but because your follow-through has no rhythm. Consistency repairs that. It tells your brain, when I say I'll do it, I do. Stop chasing excitement. It's not the answer. Excitement fades. What stays is your behavior. That's what people see. That's what builds results. That's what shapes your reputation. Reliable people aren't always fired up. They're steady. You can count on them. You can count on them when it's fun. You can count on them when it's dull. That kind of person becomes a leader, not because of speeches, but because of consistency. You don't have to feel perfect to act with purpose. Some of your best decisions will be made when you're tired, distracted, or unsure. If you train yourself to act in those moments, you become powerful. You stop waiting. You start building. And when motivation does show up again, it won't be the reason you succeed. It'll just be a bonus. Start with what you can do today, not next week. Not when things are easier. Pick one habit, keep it small, make it daily. Protect it. Don't let emotions talk you out of it. Don't let delays become excuses. If you miss a day, return immediately. That's how consistency is built, not by being perfect, but by coming back fast. This kind of discipline affects every part of your life, your health, your learning, your income, your mindset. The way you do anything becomes the way you do everything. If you're consistent in your routines, you'll find it easier to be consistent in your relationships, your goals, and your standards. It's all connected. When you stop relying on motivation, you stop needing to feel inspired all the time. You just follow the system you built. That system frees your mind from decision fatigue. You don't wake up wondering what to do. You already know. You don't argue with yourself all day. You just act. That frees up energy. And that energy goes into growth instead of overthinking. People who win long term are not the most excited. They're the most consistent. They don't rush. They don't panic. They focus. They show up. And they build. While others are waiting for the right moment, they're already doing the work. That's why they improve. That's why they grow. Not because they had more talent, but because they built better habits. Consistency also builds peace. You don't have to constantly chase motivation. You don't have to restart every few weeks. You just move forward, day by day, step by step. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's real. And real progress doesn't need to be loud, it just needs to last. If you're struggling to stay consistent, stop overcomplicating it. Remove the pressure. Pick something simple. Stick with it. Track it. Celebrate small wins. Don't wait for big results. They'll come, but only if you keep going. The people who finish are the ones who learn to move without feeling ready. You don't need to feel inspired to keep your word. You don't need to be in the mood to make a good choice. You just need to act in line with your values. That's how consistency is built. By doing what matters, no matter what your feelings are telling you. And when you finally reach the goals you set, you'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't emotion. It was work. Daily work. Boring work. Steady work. But that kind of work builds something powerful. Something that lasts. Not just a moment of success, but a life of meaning. So don't wait for motivation. It's not coming every day. But your opportunity to act is here now. Use it. Practice consistency before you need it. Train your mind to move without hesitation, and when motivation does show up, you'll already be ahead. Because you didn't wait. You worked. And that's what makes all the difference.
Chapter 7. Build emotional maturity before handling pressure. Pressure reveals what's really going on inside a person. It shows you what your coping habits are, how you treat others when things don't go your way, how quickly you lose control when plans fall apart, and how you handle setbacks that weren't expected. You can be confident when life is easy. You can stay calm when everything's working, but when pressure shows up, the real you comes forward. And that's why emotional maturity is not optional. You have to build it before pressure shows up, or you'll break down exactly when you need to stay strong. Emotional maturity is not about hiding how you feel. It's about understanding your emotions and choosing how to respond instead of letting them lead your actions. It's about not letting temporary feelings cause permanent damage. You might feel angry, overwhelmed, insecure, or tired. That's normal, but maturity gives you the ability to feel those things without losing your sense of direction, without saying things you regret, without hurting people just because you feel low. Most people are never taught how to deal with their emotions. They learn to escape them, ignore them, or let them explode. They avoid conflict or run from responsibility because it's uncomfortable. But pressure doesn't care how uncomfortable you feel. It just shows up. And if you haven't done the inner work to stay grounded, you'll collapse in ways that hurt you and the people around you. Pressure isn't bad. In fact, pressure often brings opportunity. It means something important is on the line. It means growth is possible. But that only works if you're prepared on the inside. If every small stress pushes you to complain, blame, panic, or quit, the bigger moments in life will crush you. Pressure doesn't create weakness. It reveals it. And emotional maturity is what strengthens you in advance. You build maturity in quiet moments. When nobody is pushing you, when you're dealing with small disappointments, when a conversation frustrates you, and you choose to pause instead of react, when something doesn't go your way, and you choose to reflect instead of lash out. These moments feel small, but they train your nervous system, they build patience, they shape control, and over time you become harder to shake. A lot of people think being emotional is a weakness. That's not true. Emotion is part of being human. It's how we connect. It's how we care, but what matters is how you manage those emotions. Do they run your life, or do they inform it? Do you use emotion to gain awareness, or do you use it as a reason to avoid responsibility?
Emotional maturity means you can have strong feelings and still make wise decisions. When pressure comes, you won't always have time to think deeply. You'll need to rely on your habits. That's why you build emotional awareness before the big moments arrive. You learn to breathe before reacting. You learn to ask yourself, what's the real problem here? You learn to focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. These are skills, and like any skill, they must be practiced. Many people lose opportunities because they can't manage how they react. They say the wrong thing at the wrong time. They shut down when challenged. They blame others instead of taking ownership. These reactions don't come from lack of knowledge. They come from lack of preparation, from skipping the emotional work that most people avoid because it feels uncomfortable. You have to be willing to be honest with yourself. When something bothers you, don't bury it. Ask yourself why it bothers you. What's underneath the reaction? Is it fear? Is it pride? Is it past hurt? When you start naming what you feel, it loses its power to control you. You gain clarity, and with clarity, you can make decisions from strength instead of impulse. A mature person doesn't always feel calm, but they know how to return to calm. They don't avoid conflict, but they approach it with respect. They don't ignore mistakes, but they take ownership quickly. They don't expect life to be fair, but they stay responsible anyway. That mindset is rare, and it's what makes people strong when life gets intense. Emotional maturity also improves how you treat people. When you're under pressure, the easy thing to do is take it out on someone else. Get short with your team. Snap at a friend. Ignore your family. But a mature person understands that stress doesn't give you the right to treat people poorly. You can be under pressure and still stay kind, still stay composed, still stay accountable for your tone and behavior. You also learn to forgive more quickly. When you're emotionally immature, you hold on to resentment because it feels powerful. But maturity teaches you that forgiveness isn't weakness. It's freedom. It doesn't mean forgetting. It means not letting the past poison the future. You stop wasting energy on things that don't serve your growth. And that makes you stronger, not softer. Building emotional maturity also helps you understand your limits. You know when you need to rest, when you need to speak up, and when you need to let something go. You stop pretending you're fine when you're not. You stop pushing through everything without care. Maturity teaches you that strength isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters with the right attitude. You'll also face moments where things go wrong, and no one is there to help. Maturity means you don't look for someone to blame. You look for how to respond. You take ownership without drama. You find the next step without needing someone to rescue you. That mindset prepares you for leadership, because leaders are expected to stay calm in chaos, to guide others even when they feel uncertain, and to bring clarity when things feel out of control. All of this doesn't happen overnight. You don't suddenly become emotionally mature. You grow into it. You grow into it every time you slow down your reaction, every time you own your behavior, every time you choose reflection instead of anger. You grow every time you have a tough conversation with respect instead of aggression. You grow every time you admit you don't have it all figured out and keep learning anyway. There's nothing soft about maturity. It's not passive. It's not about avoiding conflict or never getting upset. It's about learning how to stand strong without being rigid. It's about being stable without being cold. It's about knowing yourself deeply enough that you're not easily pulled out of alignment when pressure rises. If you wait until pressure shows up to work on your emotional control, it's too late. You'll panic. You'll react. You'll damage trust. But if you build that strength now, you'll be the one who stays grounded when others fall apart. You'll be the one who brings clarity when emotions are high. You'll be the one others look to, not because you're perfect, but because you've done the work to lead yourself first. Pressure is part of life. It's part of growth. But whether it helps you rise or causes you to fall depends on how well you've prepared your inner world. Don't leave that part of your life to chance. Build emotional maturity, like it matters, because it does. It shapes how you lead, how you connect, how you respond, and how you grow. It's not just about keeping it together. It's about building the kind of foundation that can carry your future without falling apart. That work starts now, quietly, daily, and it changes everything. Chapter 8. Choose discipline before comfort or validation. Discipline is not a trend. It's not about being strict for a week or pushing yourself for a month. It's about building a mindset that does what needs to be done, whether or not it feels good. Most people don't struggle with knowing what to do. They struggle with doing it when it's uncomfortable, when no one is clapping, when comfort looks more tempting, and when attention feels more rewarding than progress. The world tells you to chase ease, to seek applause, to feel good right now. But if you want a life that actually works, one that you can be proud of, you need to choose discipline before comfort or validation. Comfort is nice in the moment. It feels safe. It feels easy. It tells you to take a break, to relax a little longer, to start tomorrow. But comfort, when chosen too often, turns into delay, regret, and wasted time. It stops you from becoming who you could be. Discipline doesn't always feel good, but it gives you something better than comfort. It gives you growth, and with growth comes freedom, confidence, and real strength. Validation is tricky. It feels like progress. It feels like recognition. A few likes, some compliments, a bit of attention, but validation from others can never replace the validation that comes from within. External approval fades quickly. It's never enough for long. And the moment people stop clapping, if that's what you depend on, your effort disappears. Discipline teaches you to work without needing attention. It teaches you to keep going when no one is watching. That's where self-respect is built. Most people wait for motivation to hit. They wait to feel ready. They want to be in the right mood before taking action. But discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what you said you would do. It's that part of you that follows through, even on the boring days, even when your mind tries to convince you to stop. That habit of doing what matters, even when it's not fun, is what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. When you build your day around comfort, you avoid challenges, you avoid feedback, you avoid putting yourself in situations that stretch you. And without pressure, without resistance, you don't get stronger. Growth needs friction. Discipline puts you in situations that build you, not break you. It's uncomfortable, but it's productive. It's not about punishment, it's about preparation. You also need to be honest with yourself. When you choose comfort over action, you tell yourself it's okay to delay. When you choose attention over discipline, you tell yourself the image matters more than the work. These messages add up, and eventually they shape your identity. You start to believe that's who you are. Someone who starts, but doesn't finish. Someone who talks more than they act. That belief becomes a barrier to your future. Discipline is not just for athletes or entrepreneurs. It's for anyone who wants to live with intention. It shows up in how you speak, how you listen, how you treat others, how you take care of your mind and your body, how you spend your time. It's in the way you choose what matters most, even when it's not what feels best. It's about taking control of your life one choice at a time. When you choose discipline, you create stability. You stop chasing the high of validation. You stop needing people to notice. You become someone who can rely on yourself. That kind of stability makes you more powerful than any compliment ever could. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You just keep showing up and doing the work. Comfort is loud. It begs for your attention. It tells you to take it easy. It whispers that today isn't that important, but if you add up those days, they become your life. And one day you'll look back and realize comfort stole your potential. Discipline doesn't make promises, it just delivers results if you stay with it. It's quieter, but it's honest, and it's the only path that actually works in the long term. Some people confuse discipline with being hard on themselves. That's not what it is. Discipline is self-respect in action. It's telling yourself the truth. It's keeping promises. It's protecting your time and energy from things that drain you. It's choosing to grow instead of staying comfortable. That doesn't mean pushing through pain without rest. It means making clear decisions about what you want and doing what it takes to move toward it, even if it's slow. Validation has become a currency. People chase it constantly, but it's empty if it's not built on something real. Doing something just to be seen doesn't build anything lasting. It keeps you performing. It keeps you dependent, but when you act with discipline, you don't need approval. You're already enough because you've earned your own respect. Start noticing the little moments, the ones where you could stay in bed a little longer, the ones where you could scroll your phone instead of working on your goals, the ones where you could say what sounds good instead of what's true. In those moments, choose discipline, not because it's easy, but because it leads somewhere worth going. That's how your future is shaped, not in big speeches, but in small repeated decisions. You're not always going to feel like doing the right thing, but you can train yourself to do it anyway. That training changes how you think. It builds your mental muscles, and the stronger those muscles get, the less you depend on emotion to act. You don't need to feel inspired. You just do what needs to be done. That's what makes you consistent. That's what makes you different. Your goals are not going to chase you. Your success is not going to arrive at your door because you hoped for it. It's going to require sacrifice, not of your health or your joy, but of your excuses, your distractions, your need to feel good all the time. You have to choose the uncomfortable truth over the easy lie. You have to build your future one decision at a time. That's what discipline does. It keeps you moving forward, even when your feelings beg you to pause. You'll always have moments when comfort sounds better. You'll always be tempted to check if people are watching, but that's where you make the real decision. That's where you decide who you are. Are you someone who needs the world's permission? Or are you someone who moves with purpose, even in silence? If you want strength, if you want growth, if you want a life that you can look back on with pride, choose discipline. It's not exciting at first, but it's honest. It's not flashy, but it works. It doesn't demand attention, but it builds your future. Every choice you make is a vote for who you're becoming. When you choose discipline, you cast a vote for the life you want, and when those votes add up, everything begins to change. Not because of luck, not because someone gave you a break, but because you earned it, quietly, consistently, and with full intention. Discipline will outlast every trend, every wave of motivation, every craving for attention. It will carry you through the hard seasons. It will protect your progress when others quit, and it will shape a life that doesn't need to be explained, because the results will speak for themselves. That's what happens when you choose discipline before comfort or validation. You build a life that actually works. Chapter 9. Improve daily behavior before demanding better outcomes. Wanting better results is normal. Everyone wants to earn more, perform better, feel stronger, and live with more clarity. But here's what most people miss. Outcomes don't change until behavior changes. Wishing for improvement without improving your daily actions is like hoping a plant will grow without watering it. You can set all the goals you want, make vision boards, write plans, and read books, but if your actions today don't change, neither will your life. Real progress doesn't come from demanding more. It comes from doing better with what you control right now. And that begins with your daily behavior. Behavior is how your mindset shows up in real life. It's what you do when nobody is holding you accountable. It's what you say, how you respond, what you prioritize, and what you ignore. Most people want new results, but keep repeating old patterns. They blame the lack of results, but the real problem is the lack of change in behavior. You can't keep acting the same and expect a different life. Improving daily behavior doesn't require a complete life overhaul. It starts small. You wake up earlier and actually use that time well. You write things down instead of trusting your memory. You stop rushing and start planning. You pay attention to how you talk to people. You take breaks without wasting hours. These little changes may not seem exciting, but they are powerful. They create a structure for your growth. You can't force results to come faster, but you can make sure your behavior is moving in the right direction. Instead of asking, why isn't this working yet? Start asking, what am I doing each day that brings me closer? If the answer is vague or inconsistent, that's the real reason progress feels slow. It's not the world that's holding you back. It's the habits that are stuck in place. Daily improvement isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about showing up with the goal of being just a little more focused, more responsible, more self-aware. You don't have to have the best day every day. You just have to stop wasting days expecting change while refusing to change your actions. A lot of frustration in life comes from expecting a future you haven't prepared for. People want to lead without learning how to listen. They want to perform without practicing. They want recognition without reliability. But life doesn't give lasting rewards to those who skip the steps. It gives them to people who earn it with consistent behavior that supports the outcome they say they want. If you want to be healthier, you have to live healthier. If you want better relationships, you have to act with more care, more patience, more honesty. If you want to earn more, you have to become more useful, more skilled, more disciplined. That transformation doesn't happen in a moment. It happens in patterns, and patterns are built by what you do each day, not what you say you'll do. The hard truth is this: your results today are a reflection of your past behavior. Not your intentions, not your goals, not your promises, just your behavior. That's not a reason to feel bad, that's a reason to take control. Because if your actions got you here, they can also take you somewhere better. But only if they improve. You can't wait for the perfect mood to show up. Behavior doesn't need to wait for motivation. It needs structure. It needs clear decisions that don't bend on how you feel. What time do you wake up? What do you do with the first hour of your day? How do you respond when something frustrating happens? These are all decisions you can train. When you improve them, you improve your future. Some people keep searching for better strategies, better systems, better shortcuts, but they ignore the one thing that matters most: the way they behave when no one is watching, the way they keep promises to themselves, the way they finish small tasks with focus. That's what builds discipline, and discipline is what turns action into real results. The key is not to try doing everything at once. Pick one behavior and improve it. If you're always distracted, create boundaries around your focus. If you always skip planning, take 10 minutes each night to set up tomorrow. If you speak without thinking, pause before reacting. These tiny improvements create a ripple effect. They change how your day feels. And when your days get better, your life gets better. Stop waiting for the outcome to change before you act differently. That's not how growth works. You act differently first. You become the person who would naturally create that outcome, and eventually the results start to show. Not because you forced them, but because you were finally aligned with them. Your behavior has to match your goal. If your goal is clarity but your habits are chaos, you won't move forward. If your goal is strength, but your habits are inconsistency, your progress will stop and start forever. If your goal is peace, but your habits are reaction and avoidance, stress will keep repeating itself. Behavior must lead the result. Every day you're given a new chance to decide who you're becoming. Your behavior is not set in stone. You can adjust. You can replace bad patterns with better ones. You can reset when you That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who grow. They take responsibility for their behavior instead of blaming everything else. No one else is responsible for your actions. You choose how you speak. You choose how you think. You choose how you handle pressure. You choose how much effort you give, and those choices matter. They create the rhythm of your life. If the rhythm is weak, your results will be offbeat. If the rhythm is strong, your life begins to flow. Most people are chasing outcomes that they haven't built the behavior for yet. They're expecting a new life with the same habits, but lasting change doesn't work that way. You get the future you've earned, not the one you wish for, so earn it. Start today. No need to wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There's just now. And what you do now, again and again, shapes everything. Improving behavior doesn't mean never failing. It means bouncing back fast. It means recognizing when you're slipping and correcting early. It means being honest with yourself, not harsh, just honest. If something isn't working, fix what you're doing. Don't expect the world to adjust to your preferences. You adjust your behavior to meet the standards of the life you want. No matter how big your dreams are, they all start with what you do between sunrise and sunset. Your future isn't hidden. It's shaped by repetition. It's shaped by how you use your time, how you manage your emotions, how you treat people, and how much you take ownership of your day. Those small invisible choices build visible outcomes over time. Stop demanding more from life until you've demanded more from yourself. Raise your personal standard, not for approval, not for applause, for yourself, because you know you can do better, and when you do better consistently, better results stop being a dream. They become normal. You won't need to chase success. It will grow from you, because you became the kind of person who earns it through action, not just ambition.
Chapter 10. Become reliable before life rewards responsibility. You don't get more responsibility just because you want it. Life gives more to the people who've shown they can handle what they already have. That's why reliability matters so much. It's not about doing one big thing once. It's about being the kind of person people can count on again and again. Before life opens up more doors, before people trust you with bigger tasks, before opportunities show up that carry weight, you have to become someone dependable, someone steady, someone who follows through even when no one is checking. Being reliable isn't a trait you're born with. It's a decision you make every day. It's built in the quiet moments where you could ignore a task, delay a reply, skip a step, but you don't. You do it anyway. Not for credit, not for praise, but because you said you would, and that's enough. Over time, those decisions build a reputation. That reputation opens doors that skill alone cannot. The mistake most people make is thinking they'll become reliable once they get a big role, a title, or a leadership position. But that's backwards. The promotion, the opportunity, the responsibility, those are the result of reliability, not the cause of it. You have to prove in the small things that you're ready for the big ones. If you're not consistent with little responsibilities, no one will trust you with more. It's that simple. Reliability starts with how you treat your word. Do you do what you say you'll do? Not just the things that are easy or exciting, but also the things that are inconvenient or repetitive. Every time you keep your word, you send a signal to yourself and others that you're serious. That signal builds trust. And trust is the currency of responsibility.
People don't remember every detail about you, but they remember if they can count on you. They remember if you showed up when you said you would. If you followed through when others gave excuses. If you handled pressure without losing focus. These things stick. They matter. Not because they're flashy, but because they're rare. Being reliable means doing the right thing without needing a reminder. It means showing up even when you're tired. It means getting the job done without asking for a shortcut. It's not glamorous work, but it's powerful, because everyone wants someone they can rely on when things get serious. And that person is usually the one who's been consistent long before the spotlight came. Responsibility always shows up with weight, with expectations, with pressure. If you haven't trained yourself to be steady when things are quiet, you'll crack when life gets loud. That's why reliability has to come first. You build it now in the unnoticed tasks, so that when the pressure rises, your character doesn't collapse. There's nothing special about keeping promises, but there's something rare about people who actually do it. Not just once, but every day, who don't need to be watched, who don't chase attention, who don't wait for the perfect moment. They just take care of what's theirs. That consistency becomes strength. That strength earns trust. And that trust leads to more responsibility. Don't wait to be asked to lead. Lead yourself. Start with your schedule. Start with your commitments. Start with your attitude. If you're late to things, fix it. If you forget things, write them down. If you make excuses, replace them with ownership. These habits shape your future faster than ambition ever will. Ambition talks, reliability proves. Some people say they want more from life, but ignore the responsibilities already in front of them. They want more money, but aren't managing what they have. They want more influence, but don't handle feedback well. They want bigger roles, but don't take care of the basic. That gap between desire and behavior is what holds them back. Not lack of talent, not lack of opportunity, just lack of consistency. If you want to grow, focus on becoming the kind of person others don't have to worry about. The one who handles things, the one who stays calm when problems come up, the one who keeps things moving forward even when motivation disappears. That's not about being perfect. It's about being dependable. And dependable people rise, always. Reliability is also about self-respect. When you become someone you can count on, your confidence changes. You no longer doubt yourself every time something gets difficult. You know what to expect from yourself. That self-trust creates a foundation. It reduces anxiety. You don't second-guess your own standards. You've already proven to yourself what you do in hard situations. You don't have to be the most talented. You don't have to have the most experience. If you're reliable, you will be noticed. People remember who showed up, who stayed late, who fixed the problem without complaining, who followed through after the excitement wore off. These qualities are not given, they're built. One day at a time, one decision at a time. The people life rewards are the ones who showed they were ready before they were handed more. That means you don't wait to develop character after the promotion. You build it now. You treat your current work like it matters, even if it feels small. You take pride in being excellent even when no one compliments it. You raise your personal standard because you believe in being someone others can count on. There's nothing wrong with wanting more responsibility, but you have to earn it, not just by saying the right things, but by being the person who acts right. Consistently. When you do that, people notice. You may not hear it right away. You may not be praised for every effort, but quietly, people begin to trust you. That trust turns into opportunity, not because you chased them, but because you were ready when they showed up. Reliability doesn't make headlines, but it builds legacies. It makes you someone people respect, not because you talk the most or stand in the front, but because when things matter, you're there, you deliver, you finish, you stay steady, and that's what the world needs more of. Becoming reliable is a choice. It's not about mood or circumstances. It's about values. It's about doing what matters when it matters. Again and again. And if you keep doing that, you won't have to beg for responsibility. It will find you. And when it does, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready because you've already become the kind of person who can carry it. Don't chase the reward. Chase the responsibility. Be the one who shows up early, stays prepared, follows through, listens well, and acts with care. Do that long enough, and life will meet you with what you've earned, not all at once, but steadily, because reliability always pays off. Maybe not immediately, but always.